Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Send Us Flowers. I am here with the incredible Wendy Zeng. She is When You're Hungry on Instagram because, oh my God, you're an incredible chef. You're an incredible person, really, just period. But like, you've won Chopped 420. I mean, you have created your own product. You do incredible content and work and just like works of art, really, for other people, other brands, and I'm honored to send you flowers.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, it's been really amazing and inspiring to just kind of watch you evolve and, evolve your voice and bring in different intersectional people and experiences and other topics. And so I'm just really glad to be a part of it.
Yay! I'm so excited. And so I know that there's a lot of stuff in your bag, but before we get to that, I would love to know who you're sending flowers to.
If I had to think, about who I'm so grateful for in this moment, I would like to, in general, send flower to badass Asian women in my life who, keep me grounded and keep me feeling so loved and supported.
Of course.
But especially recently, over the Christmas break, I was able to hang out with my girl cousins from China who all immigrated to North America.
What?
Yeah, it was really, really beautiful because we have not been together like that in, I want to say like 8 years since we were back in China. So
wow.
Yeah, and like we're all kind of around the same generation and, growing up in the same family and, under, very, very patriarchal values of China and our family. We've just had a lot of, generational trauma and shared experiences that we've never shared this deeply as adults. And this break, it really, really helped me to shed a lot of my own generational trauma. And ever since, you mentioned earlier that I won Chopped, which was when, all my family and everybody found out.
Right.
And it was actually kind of rocky because not everybody in my family is supportive and it's just been kind of tumultuous too. And, it's really challenging me in a way to really question myself, like, well, what part, because what it stirred up for me and triggered for me was a lot of the stigma I still had that was being projected onto me. And even though I'm out here advocating and for, this lifestyle, for cannabis and for plant medicine, it's like you still carry those wounds and those stigmas with you. So having my girl cousins, like, also, by the way, like, they don't even really partake, they don't.
I was
really
gonna ask.
Yeah, well, through me, maybe, but like
maybe some edibles.
Yeah, exactly. Very light, just for sleepy and with CBD, more health and wellness oriented. But it was cool for me to see how much they supported me and how they've been advocating for me with other family members too. Even if they don't partake, they get it, they know what I'm trying to do and they see the positive in it and they see the benefits, and for them to just support me in that way, it just kind of helped me fight those stigmas more. And I think after their visit, it kind of left me even more confident, even more supported, and feeling more sure of myself. So, sending flowers to my cousins.
What has it been like navigating those conversations, especially with people who may not agree with what you're doing?
I think
and so publicly, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, Chopped is on Discovery, just so everyone is aware.
No, totally. And I think I thought about it like even before going on the show.
Right.
But I think every time I'm confronted with those things, I have to, it's a good evaluation and reflection moment of like, am I really in it? How much of myself do I want to put out there like that?
Of course.
And as much as I feel a calling and a responsibility to do it, I also need to protect my energy and have boundaries. So, I think it's been a constant negotiation, but for me, I try to focus on the people and the conversations
Absolutely.
that feel good for me.
Yeah.
And I just try to remember those and try to come from a place of love, and also understanding that some people are just not ready to hear that,
Yeah.
and you can't be set on a specific outcome for somebody else, because then you're just like shoving your ideals on down their throat, and that's not what I'm trying to do at all. So I'm, where my boundary is I'm really there to engage in conversations with people who are curious and open to it. I'm not trying to like convert the non-believers, I
Yeah.
think, as we evolve this space, as more people, with their own stigmas, see how we model in this community, model a responsible, caring, loving, community-oriented way of living, maybe they'll change your mind. But I'm really not interested in like, converting the non-believers. I'm here for the people who are actually interested in learning and empowering them to be more in charge of their own consumption journey.
Yeah. And I think you offer such an accessible way to do that. I'm curious, what was it like for your cousins, especially coming from China, to be here and to be in all of this? Like, weed is really illegal in China. And to be able to be in a place where it's not only legal, but fairly accessible, not only to smoke, but in food, in tincture forms, in vaping forms, in topical forms, even. What was it like showing them things? Like, are they familiar with it?
Well, one of my cousins is in Canada, so they legalized before we even did. So she's seen it everywhere in gyms, and so she already had that concept of like, cool, I'm seeing it in this health and wellness context, because she's thinking about drugstores and gyms and things like that.
Absolutely.
So, and my other cousins who live in America, they are also much more familiar with it. So I think even moving out of China and just seeing other information and education about it has kind of set a pretty open mind and base for them. And then from there, I really wasn't trying to push anything. It was really like just questions, or I just tried to give evidence-based facts and things like that, but also own up to the fact that there's not enough facts, because federally it's still illegal, which prevents a lot of really incredible research from happening, from us getting those facts. So
totally.
I just try to be as objective and honest as possible.
And so when you ultimately won and wanted to share that, were you hesitant to?
Not so much with them, but maybe with my parents a little bit. But with them, I think it was, and that's another really, really beautiful thing about the love that my cousins share with me, is that they didn't see it as a taboo. They weren't like, oh my God, you're on TV for cannabis. They were more like, wow, you're on TV for cooking. You're on TV talking about Sichuan, like, ingredients and how that pairs with different cannabis strains. Absolutely. And, they saw it more as a creative culinary feat. Yeah. Which is how I want people to perceive it.
Absolutely.
So, for them, they were just like, this is so cool, you're doing amazing things. But of course, with my parents, it's a kind of a mixed bag. But I think it's just tough, because I am an immigrant, so I'm not like first gen or anything like that. Like, I grew up in China till I was 10, so I still have that context. Right. But my parents didn't come to the US till in their mid-30s. So, being a full-grown adult, having like the information they were given, it's a lot harder to change that kind of perception overnight. So, I'm not really holding out for any kind of specific outcome. I just, am putting positive energy out there for, us to continue to have the conversation. Absolutely. Because I think that's really what it is. It's like, you can't just think that people are going to change their minds overnight. You're going to drive yourself crazy and build resentment towards them if you do that.
Totally.
And, I'm for being patient and, just being present in the journey of the conversation rather than they have to, think a certain way.
And you do so much for the AAPI community, and especially with other, you know, women and people in cannabis, I've seen you really, you know, your light just beams through. And with other people like Christina and others, you have all created a space where I feel like it's been safe and comforting. And I'm curious what it's been like building that space while also, you know, having this identity and balancing that.
I think if anything, that's been part of my journey. I think in sharing that love and building that space that I so much crave, especially, you know, now, you know, what I just told you, you know, and you kind of get the why behind I do what I do.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like sometimes, you know, we have to find our chosen family to feel supported in the thing we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my really, really trying times with my family not really accepting it, it's been really incredible to connect with the AAPI community here. And, you know, shout out to Ophelia Chong, who's like such a mentor to me, who also is such an incredible community organizer through her work with ACE, Asian American for Cannabis Education.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, seeing and walking alongside her and Christina with the event that we built together, Mogu Magu, it's been really, really great to constantly remind me to that, hey, this is why I'm doing it.
Yes.
I need this. Other people probably need it too, you know?
The why in general in life is already so important, but especially when you're doing something that's a little bit, you know, cannabis feels oftentimes like we're swimming upstream. And to have a why when you're fighting against a current, I mean, what else is keeping you going?
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I work really hard at it. I don't want to ever come off like, oh yeah, I'm just being fabulous in LA, you know, on my beautiful healing journey. Yes. No, it's a lot of crying, it's a lot of tears, it's a lot of hugs and consoling and feeling shitty and then feeling okay about yourself again.
Of course.
It's like a daily thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I try to make sure that I am having those release, you know? Sometimes I really do think to myself, wow, it's been a while since I've cried. I must be like, I need to tap into that and like, you know, get myself to cry.
Yeah. Should we cry on the podcast? Do you have anything you want to cry about? I'm just kidding. We don't have to cry.
I mean, if it happens organically, you know, I'm not gonna.
Perfect.
I'm not gonna hide it. But at the same time,
viewers, stay tuned.
I just always, you know, because when I'm watching other people, you know, on talks and things like that, I'm always like, I hate that narrative of making people feel like, oh, wow, they really got it figured out, you know? Behind every good boundary I keep is because somebody broke it, you know?
That's true.
And so there's hurt, there's disappointment and frustration behind all of those boundaries. So,
absolutely.
You know, I definitely don't want other people out there thinking that it's actually effortless.
I mean, it really is incredible what you're doing. And part of what I feel like makes it so accessible is I think that things like, here, I'm going to put the tea down. Oh, and for all the audio listeners and viewers, you brought this beautiful tea and I took a sip. I had to stop myself. I was going to interrupt you, but this is magical tea. What is this?
Thank you. It's so good. It's Tieguanyin Oolong. So Tieguanyin means iron goddess. This is one of my favorite varietals of Chinese tea from the Sichuan region where I'm from. And it's got one just beautiful floral, earthy flavors. And also it is great for digestion.
Okay.
So, you know, when you're eating like a big meal or like a ton of snacks like we're about to do, it's really good to pair it with something that's going to help you with your digestion. And it's just, I mean, I love the floralness of it. So Absolutely. It's like, this is perfect for this podcast, you know, flowers everywhere in our cups.
No, this is absolutely I mean, there's not even honey in this or anything.
No, there's
no sweetener.
No.
This is probably the best tea I've ever had.
I'm so glad you enjoy it. I'm obsessed. I pretty much exclusively drink tea that we get from China. They just do it differently, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's what is different? Do you know?
I think just the process and the storing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, you have to think about it from the perspective of like taste and palate. They're trying to,
Right.
you know,
Absolutely.
appease to. And I'm from Sichuan, and Sichuan people are so opinionated about their food
Okay.
and quality. And
Yeah.
like, so, you know, we kind of get this trained, nuanced palate even from a very young age. So it's like if you're going to be a supplier that's going to be, you know, supplying the pickiest people in China, like it better be good. So I think they just have such a long history of like honing in their craft for a very, very picky palate of people.
Yeah. And I think that's so cool, though. That's a beautiful story, by the way. And I think that's so cool because with food and, you know, the culinary experience, I really do feel like there is this insane connection with weed and like, you know, what the palate is and the sourcing and how things are grown and how they're stored even, you know, everything down to like the finest detail is so crucial. And so I love talking to people in food and weed. Just
exactly.
There's such a deep understanding and I'm obsessed with that.
I mean, you know how like the French in wine industry, they talk about the terroir, which is like the makeup of the dirt. So even if like you had a blue dream seed and I had a blue dream seed and we're growing in different places and taking care of it differently, it's going to come out with different terpenes and different, you know, THC percentages and all these different things. It's the same thing for anything we grow, you know?
Yeah.
So like the terroir of Sichuan is very, very diverse. We got like rivers and mountains and different elevations.
Yeah.
So teas grown at different elevations too.
Okay.
And different soil makeup kind of changes that's why we only put water in it. That's it, you know? And then you're getting like this crazy like complex flavor. And I think it's the same thing with weed, you know, with flowers too, is like you know, people, you know, get such crazy terpenes sometimes. And I'm like, how is this just one single strain?
Absolutely.
Because it tastes like 5 strings mixed together, you know?
Yes, completely. And then it also is so cool how it tells a story of that geographical region. And it's, you know, so unique to that. And something that I think, so I wanted to show people your chili party. I've been dying. I mean, like, dying to try this. And I'm so excited you brought it. This is yours.
Yeah.
This is your baby.
It's yours now.
Well, yes. No, but like this is your baby, and I want to hear how you started this.
So basically, you know, when you go to like your local dumpling house, usually there's always that little red chili sauce jar on the side. And so that chili sauce is very common. It's like in everybody's house in China, in all these dumpling shops. And it's usually a really basic sauce, and it's still really good. It's just like hot oil to the right temperature, pour it over the chili, and you know, it gets all the essence and the aromatics out. But this is a very chefy, complex version of that.
I love it.
So it's got like, you know, mushroom powders, and the oils is infused with like 7 different spices, and there's crunchy bits in there of like shallots and garlic, and there's just like so many different complex flavors. Like as soon as you open it up, you're gonna be like, wow, I smell so much. Yeah. So this is like how I want to present my culture. And, you know, I'm so proud to be from Sichuan. I think, you know, it's something that is like my superpower as a chef is like being able to be from there and having grown up with the amazing food and culture. So I just want to be able to encapsulate that that pride and that sense of like discernment and quality and taste, but also wrap it up in something fun, you know? It's like just because you're honoring something doesn't mean that has to be so serious and like whatever, make it a party.
Yes, I mean, even like down to, you know, the packaging and everything, it is a party. Like I look at this, when you post it on, you know, socials, everything, like I want to go to this party. I want to be there. I'm like, where's that party happening? Because I need to be there. And the fact that you can take a little bit of that party with you and have a bite of it, and there's literally a party in your mouth,
That part. So in the back, on the back, it says it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Because there is an ingredient in there that is very special and native to our region, which is Sichuan peppercorns.
Got it.
So Sichuan peppercorns, they are what produces that numbing spice. And why I say it's a feeling is because when you eat it, it actually vibrates your taste buds.
What?
So it's a sensation. Also a flavor, because flavor is like more of like, you know, the salty, sweet, whatever's. But that it's a sensation, you know, so it really feels like a party in your mouth.
That is so cool. Okay, I'm so excited for this. I'm gonna eat it with everything. I have some burrata at home, and I'm gonna put. I don't even know. I'm just thinking of all the things like crackers.
It's good on everything.
Chicken. I can just tell you what's in my fridge. Okay, so that is definitely the first item of your bag. I had to touch on that. What else is here? We're looking at just a spread.
I'd be remiss to not talk about another Sichuan sister sauce too.
Got it.
This is Fly by Jing from my dear friend Jing. She's also from my hometown of Chengdu, but so cool. She immigrated to Toronto with her family, and she saw such a white space in you know, condiments world.
Yeah.
And she ended up like spending a ton of time dealing with sourcing and finding the best, you know, ingredients. Everything in this jar is from Sichuan, our hometown. So like, you know, we really care about terroir and things that come from, you know, the rice soil and people. So this is her Zhong sauce. Zhong is a family name. It's this family who created this very iconic dumpling in our region.
Ooh.
And the dumpling's iconic because of the flavor and how it's shaped. It's usually like a smaller, no vegetable, just a tiny bit of pork in the middle, and then the wrapper is really chewy and al dente, and then you put it in this beautiful sauce that's kind of, it's very spicy, but it's also got a nice sweet umami-ness to it.
Yeah, okay.
So it's called Zhong's dumpling. So this is like kind of a Zhong's dumpling sauce. But you can literally put it on everything. Like if you smear it on some salmon and just throw it in your air fryer.
Got it.
You know, on a night when you're like, I only have 1 minute to cook.
I do have an air fryer.
Great. Then you can, you know, put this on your chicken too and throw it in there, you know, cut it into little pieces.
Yeah.
Like little popcorn chicken kind of things, and throw this in there and put in the, it's going to be crazy good.
Okay, I'm so excited. What else am I having for dinner?
just a lot of candy now. I got us some, you know, Asian Kit Kats. We got strawberry and matcha. Those flavors pair really great together.
Amazing.
And we also have some coconut taro rolls. I love anything coconut.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got to have some savories too. So we got these crunchy Thai spice Chex Mix things that I really, really love.
We're about to go in. Okay.
You know.
What would you say is kind of your perfect dose of edibles for people who want to be out and social and are at a party?
I think that it
obviously
also matters.
It's subjective.
Right. It's subjective, but I also think that more so than the dose, the format's really important.
Intriguing.
You know?
Tell me more.
So I know, like, you know, beverages, it's you know, it's not widely distributed yet, but I hope it can be one day. And that's more of like a retail evolution issue. But I really like using beverages as a way to introduce new people to it, because, you know, say for example you have a 5 or 10 milligram can of beverage, you know, you can drink it at a social event if you're not really into alcohol or and water's too boring, you know, and like, you know, you get to actually have something that's like a libation that shifts your mood a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, and when you have something more like a 5 to 10 milligram beverage, you're not drinking, you're not chugging the whole thing, right? You're socially drinking, you're sipping here and there.
Right.
So you're really only taking in like 1 to 2 milligrams at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's giving you a leveled high.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can add whatever else you want, right? You can have more edibles, or if you can just smoke because that hits you more instantaneously.
For sure.
So I think it's more about that, like, lower and consistent to like get you used to what different edibles have effects on you for you to feel comfortable. Like, oh, if I go to this, because now I'm at the point where I'm so seasoned that I know how much to take before I go to a party. But, you know, I can see how it's really daunting if you haven't tried, you know, 100 different kinds of edible. So
yeah, no, I find it to be very subjective, but I was so curious what your thoughts were on it, because it has been definitely, like, you know, something I've seen more of is people using weed in some way, shape, or form to go out. And I'm like, this is awesome. But I do find that people have a discovery process with...
I like that discovery process. I'm gonna borrow that.
Yeah, we'll call it that. Discovery process of, like, obviously what works for them. And so I was really curious what your thoughts were, and I think that's a really cool answer. And to follow up, I'm really curious also, what would you say is, like, your favorite high food? Like, what do you have to have when you're absolutely smacked and you've got the munchies? They just hit.
Definitely Sichuan food. It's got to be either hot pot or some type of dumpling noodle situation. I just want to really chew on things, you know, that are spicy. Thank you. I just really want to chew on things that are spicy and chewy when I'm, you know, because I just want to taste more, and the spice makes you crave more food, and then the chewing is just very satisfying sensation, especially when you're high.
Yeah, I would agree. It's very detailed. Oh, this is delicious, by the way.
Right? I love the specks of strawberry in there. That's not just like this is a sugary strawberry taste. It's like, no, this is like a punchy, like, you know, strawberry tartness.
Yes, that's what it is. It's the tartness. All right, before we get into some dabs, I did want to ask, so there was a question from the audience, actually, about creating your own products as a weed chef. And I was curious, what has it been like? I know that this is not specifically infused.
No.
But do you plan on doing infused items? And what has it been like, you know, creating your own product? Because that's huge.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I love doing R&D. That's probably my favorite part of the cooking, even though I know it's like supposed to lead up to you actually feeding people and the production of it all. But like the R&D part is my favorite if I can just do that. So it's actually really fun. You know, you come up with these ideas and playing with these different flavor profiles and dosage. Dosage is so important. You know, it's probably the most important thing you got to get right if you're going to do any kind of infused things. But it was really, you know, really fun. But in terms of thinking about, am I going to do my own edible and things like that? It's such a big question, because the question is, am I going to do edibles? Do I want to be a small independent entrepreneur with no funding, battling the regulations and the big guys in the industry now that we're in a legal market that doesn't, especially in California, that doesn't really help people in my situation. So it's like, yes, of course I would love to, you know, develop a edible line that can, you know, be shared with way more people than you know, who's coming to my dinners right now. But it just doesn't seem realistic, and I feel like the capitalistic aspect of it being involved in the industry that way will just drain the passion and creativity out of me. So that's been definitely something that's like always on my mind, is like, how do I make big impact but also stay true to what I want to put out in the space?
Oh my gosh,
you know? And I don't want to get greedy about just like, oh, just because I can do something doesn't mean I should, you know, or maybe I shouldn't right now. You know, so I'm just, you know, waiting for the right time, and I try to stay present for what makes sense for me right now.
I think that that's beautiful. I do think that in this space there's constantly this battle of, you know, quality versus quantity
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. And for you to be able to hone something in and really say, I need it to be right and I need it to be quality, I think that's, I needed that breath of fresh air. I feel like so many people are just rushing to do something to do it, and they're not asking, how does this help others, or how can this benefit others or be of value to others? And they're first asking, well, how can it make me money? And I don't think it puts forth like the best product for people. And you touched on some of the dinners you've been having. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, you know, through my catering, Drizzle catering, we do a lot of different pop-ups,
Yeah.
a lot of collabs, because, you know, as an independent chef, it's hard for you to learn from others because you're not in
Totally.
like a everyday kitchen restaurant kind of scene
Mhm.
where you're collaborating with people constantly. So I try
Yeah.
to use my pop-ups as a way to like collaborate and learn from other chefs too. But the intention behind these pop-ups is really to create a space for like I said, those people who are kind of curious, you know,
Yeah.
because I think as things become more legal and they
Mhm.
become more widely available, there's way
Mhm.
more shops and products and
Yeah.
brands. It's so confusing,
So
especially when
confusing.
we don't have great research and, you know, regulations. So marketers are just putting whatever the fuck on the packages and it confuses so much. I mean, I'm confused and I'm a seasoned stoner. So, like,
do you believe in, like, I go to a shop and they'll say, would you like an indica or sativa for like edibles? Is that real?
no, but I feel bad to like say something back to the poor bartender, you know, because I'm just like, okay, this person was trained by whoever was in charge. If this is like the easy, I find it to be lazy, you know what I mean? But I can't get mad at the individual bartender who's asking me that because, you know, maybe they're getting directives from somebody else, you know. But I do find that it's even though it's convenient to you know, go down to such binary,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's you know, doesn't do us a favor in the long term, you know,
No.
because it kind of like it kind of stops the conversation there, you know.
Totally.
It stops the curiosity there, and really there's like the plan is anything but binary. So
Yes.
reducing it to such binary things,
Mm-hmm.
it really just kind of isolates it.
Yeah.
When you look at it from a perspective of it's just an organic plant
Mm-hmm.
that has terpenes like any other organic plant, you know, this tea
Mhm.
has terpenes.
Yes.
You know, those strawberries in that Kit Kat has terpenes. It's like,
absolutely.
then we began to think about, okay, what do these terpenes have effect holistically on
Mhm.
us? And I know that's like a lot harder of a pitch to, you know,
No, for sure.
than somebody coming in and you're like this or that, you know.
Yeah.
But I do think that that point of sale is such an opportunity
Mhm.
to interact with consumers, because a lot of times people are just reading marketing messages. To be able to talk to a real person who has experience
Mhm.
using the product is like the biggest opportunity to do that. So
Yeah.
I will hope to see that trend
A bit of a
end,
change.
you know, and like people actually engaging in conversations. And I'm sure, you know, with some, you know, savvy marketing PR, we can
Mhm.
reduce the whole spiel about terpenes
Totally.
and the effects to something also convenient and quippy, you know?
Yeah. And so when say you're going to a dispensary, I'm curious, what would you look for if you're picking out your own edibles?
So I know a lot of the brands really well, so
course.
I'm like, I'm not a good example for or a sample size for people's path to purchase.
Mhm.
But so usually I already go in knowing the brands and products I want to try. So if those
Absolutely.
brands have, you know, new stuff, I always want to try it out.
Yeah.
And I also ask the bartenders, like, have you tried this? It's a
Mhm.
new edible. Do you like it? And of course, you know, as much as I don't want to be so biased and susceptible to packaging, that matters to
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
But also excessive packaging, just because you're beautiful, but you're being excessive and like
Mhm.
wasteful, I also don't support that.
Yeah.
So if I see something that's got 3 layers, I don't care how good the flour is, I just don't want to support that, you know?
Totally.
And I don't want them, because you vote with your dollars, and I don't want them to think that this is working, because, you know, like, we can spend more of the time and resources on the actual product.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And not waste so much.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, I love to smell things.
Yeah.
The nose knows, you know? So I'm like, if something reacts it's positively to your scent,
Yeah.
you know, I think your body will like it more too. Because if you smell something, you're like, oh, not for me. Chances are when you smoke it, you're gonna be like, oh, not for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the scents itself already give you that effect. You know, so if you smell something very citrusy, you might already feel like, ooh, that feels nice and uplifting.
Yeah. And so at the dinners you have, what is it like then, you know, coming up with some of the food pairings and finding out, you know, what works flavor wise, and especially, you know, then following your nose where it goes and looking for those certain terpene matches?
Yeah, so you know, going back to the mission of these dinners, which is really to make an inclusive space and experience for very seasoned people to novice to experience. I try to showcase a lot of different types of ways to consume. So as soon as people get in, you know, maybe they're met with a CBD or a CBD THC 1-to-1 like mocktail, so they can see that, hey, in my daily life, even if I'm not eating, I can be consuming this beverage, you know, or socially I can be consuming this beverage. And then when we actually sit down for dinner, there's infusions in the food.
Wow.
But also there's so for those, you know, we try to play off of the ingredients. Sometimes it's complementary, but not always. I actually really like to play with like complementary flavors where they like kind of, maybe I'm not using the right word, that juxtapose the different flavors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just because something's citrusy doesn't mean you always have to pair with something citrusy.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe something citrusy might actually pair really well with something really funky, because maybe there's like a hint of a funk of an element in the dish that you want to play up. You know? So that's another thing we do. But I also like to, like, you know, because we don't want to just get people too stoned, and it's about giving them choice to up their high if they want to. So there's also different joints and dabs that they can try throughout. So I actually do like pairings a lot, because the flavor sometimes of infused dishes, it's, you can't really taste it. So really it's more like the food is a vehicle for the high.
Right.
But I think when you get down to pairing, you can taste the food and the weed a little bit more distinctly, and that it's more like a wine pairing, you know what I mean? It's like cooking with the wine in the food. Of course that adds some aromatic bodiness to the food, but when you're pairing the wine with the food, you can just taste it so much more.
When you were mentioning kind of your pairings of like the citrus with something funky, it's just so, it's a little bit of that.
So good,
right? So it's grape pie animal cookies.
So good.
And so you have,
it's like a sweet pomelo. That's what it smells like to me. It's like a sweet pomelo. I really love pomelo. So
wow, that is a very unique description.
I don't know if everybody's eating pomelos. I probably eat more pomelos than the average person. So
what is that?
It's like a grapefruit. No, they don't really sell it at Ralph's, you know. So it's like hard for you to know. See, that's why you got to go to the Asian markets. They sell it at the Asian markets, and they're so good. They're like a grapefruit that is not so wet, if that makes sense. So like the pulp is a lot more thick.
Got it.
So it's got like kind of a crunch when you bite into it. It's really, really good.
Okay, that sounds really delicious. I also like refreshing.
Herby bitter things. So pomelo's also, you know, it's sweet, but it's also got that herby bitterness. So yeah, this smells like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stop smelling it.
It smells really so good. I think that so I have kind of an assortment of things. I have some of my favorites, some new things to me. And I didn't really do anything bottom shelf. I don't like bottom shelf dabs.
Thank you. I'm not a bottom shelf kind of girl, you know.
I got you, darling. You ask for dabs, I bring you dabs. You want top shelf, I bring you top shelf. You want garlic? We've got GMO.
Oh, I love GMO. It's one of my favorites.
Me too. Yeah. I love anything garlicky. I also love garlic like when I'm cooking. Oh, that's ready to go. Yeah, so tap. Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Is that a good temp for that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. It's at about 480. We were discussing just for all viewers and listeners, we have like, I don't know. We have 2 rigs. We've got a Puffco. We've got multiple torches. We have one. Okay, I don't know if we're going to actually use like the glass that we brought, but you all have to see this. This thing is like a literal like fire. I don't even know. This thing is what is the thing from Tesla? The boring company, the fire blower, the fire thrower.
Fire thrower.
Fire thrower. This is a fire thrower. Is it gonna do it? Ah!
Don't burn our snacks.
This is crazy. And so we have a little bit of a different version of that. We're gonna just maybe stick with the iSpire. I mean, we'll see where the day takes us. But I do really love the iSpire because it does feel like an e-nail. Like it. What'd you think? It kind of rips, right?
I love it. I mean, you heard me coughing. It definitely rips. I think 480 is a great temp. That's my preferred.
Okay.
Usually, because I think sometimes people have it way too high, and they're like, "But that makes me cough, and I get so stoned." But I was like, I don't think that's the weed getting you high. I think it's the just like everything being so burned, and
absolutely
you're actually inhaling carcinogens, and the carcinogens are getting you high. You know, I mean, something's getting you high, but I'm not sure it's all the weed. And so I think, and also at that point is like, are you really tasting the terpenes, or are you just burning them to shit? You know,
this is the right temperature, and it tastes so good. This is a good. I like to kind of like sit the smoke in a little, like just let it kind of like play, just play in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, that's what cigar people do.
Yeah,
you know?
I was about to say and so I feel like sometimes I might sound insane, but okay. Do you think that you can taste different flavors on different parts of like your tongue or in your mouth?
Absolutely. Like in the back of my tongue and a little bit on the side right here, I'm tasting like a butteriness from this.
Yes.
Almost like, you know, when you drink a Chardonnay and you have that butteriness to it. Like, and you only really get that after you've like let the smoke sit in your mouth and kind of like tasted it a little bit longer for it to develop.
Yeah. And there's also almost like a tart at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I vibe with this.
I think it pairs really well with the tea. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The aftertaste of the tea.
How did you find that dabs just worked best for you? Like,
I think because I'm such a flavor junkie, you know, like we've been talking so much about terpenes and flavors and terroir. And for me, this is like the purest expression of that in flower. It's just so you really get to taste the terpenes in isolation.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more about the flavor experience of smoking.
I had to wait toward the end because I get so messed up off dabs, like for sure.
Oh, really?
And so if we had dabbed at the beginning of this, I would have been so messed up. I mean, I love dabs, don't get me wrong. And especially because, like, I'm coming off my period right now. And so I still am, like, kind of crampy. And, like, dabs are, like, perfect for that. But it's because it's, like, all right, girl, lights out. Let's go.
No, I'm, like, a wake and bake with dab situation.
Okay.
Which is so surprising, right? Some people are like, wow, you're so small, you can dab that much. And it's like, I really can't smoke a lot and not get too messed up. But it's not the same with edibles.
Interesting. Okay, tell me more.
I've always been able to like have a pretty high tolerance when it comes to smoking. But you know, that's going into your central nervous system and you feel it right away. Whereas edibles, you know, it's going through your digestive system. It's being absorbed sublingually sometimes when you're like just, you know, eating and chewing or drinking things.
Right.
And it gets absorbed differently and it metabolizes differently. And so the feel is different. So for a long time, I didn't really like do edibles because we, you know, back when I was in college and you know, we didn't really have all this information about dosing.
For sure.
So, you know, me, like a lot of other people, have had, you know, those couch lock, am I gonna be like this forever, am I gonna be so high like this forever kind of moments after eating a brownie that I made, and because we just didn't know how to dose ourselves even, you know. So, you know, I chalked it up to, oh, you know, edibles not for me. I tried it once and it got me really messed up, and then later to, you know, learn so much about dosing and now helping other people with their dosing too. You know, I started, it's because of all the low dose stuff, you know. And when the low dose stuff started coming onto the market, which is when legalization happened, you know, because they needed to get newcomers into the market, and you can't introduce them with this 40 milligram tiny, you know, chocolate bar. They're gonna eat the whole thing and they're gonna be so fucked. And so like, so, you know, in trying out these like 2.5 milligram, 5 milligram, I've actually seen my edible tolerance go up. So now I'm more like a 15 milligram girl, but I started out more like a 5 milligram.
Okay.
Yeah, which is surprising, right? For someone who like
that
dabs.
Is really surprising. Yeah, I really wonder, you know, I can't wait for there to just be more research to know why certain things affect us as they do, because with weed, like as we have said many a time throughout this episode, it's such a discovery process and a little bit of, you know, fuck around and find out. And sometimes you find out that something really works for you, and sometimes you find out it really does not. That's new to me. I've never tried this, but I went to a new I like to just try different random dispensaries.
You're so brave. It's like really hard for me to go to stores now.
Wait, why?
I mean, I just have less tolerance for people overall. So I'm just like, after COVID, you know, I'm just like, wow, this is what it feels like on my body when I don't have to deal with everybody. This is what it feels like in my mood to not have to deal with everybody. And, you know, it's like, you know, before I was like looking at all the automated things in Japan where everything's like take a ticket and in line, and I'm like, wow, look at them, so detached. Now I'm like, give me that. That's what I want, because I don't need a lot of attachment to things that don't give me good energy. And
that's so
you know,
funny.
It's like you're attaching yourself to things that drain you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, why can't I open this?
I just had to clap at that because yes. So,
oh wow.
I finally got this one open. Yes, we're here. Just by the way, that entire time, both of us were trying to open packaging for all the audio. I was trying to get the 710 Labs open, which this is, okay, I will say I love 710 Labs. So I had to bring 710 Labs. This is their GMO. Ooh. And it's my favorite. They look
like little white chocolate chips.
Like, it's really beautiful product. Whoa. It's GMO and grease bucket.
That smells so good.
Yeah. And so I will say this is a little bit of an older product, which I was a little like, but 710 Labs does keep really well. Yeah, no, and
I can smell it from here.
It's really nice. I thought it was good. So we can do that one next. Okay, this is really crazy.
Right? Okay, I'm glad it was not just me. I'm like, wow, am I really that high already? I can't get this open. But also accessibility, you know what I mean? I think about like getting older too, or not even getting older, you know, it could happen to me now too. Like, what if you get like arthritis? What if you
I would I would never be able to open 90% of the things here. Yeah, I'd have to literally light it on fire. For arthritis. Like, I don't know. They need to find a balance there. I don't know what this was. It does smell really good though. The packaging was insane.
Frosty. Ooh, yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Frosty.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they new? Do you know much about them?
I think they're API.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, dope. I'm glad I did that.
And I think that's where I've heard about them, because I think Christina told me about them. Because we're through the Asian collective for food and cannabis that we run together. We're always trying to find out who else is,
for sure,
out there and connect each other. So, because a lot of times, when I first went to the potluck events that Ophelia puts on, it was like I was holding back tears, because it was just so incredible to see like people that look like you, and then you're like, wait, what? They all work at the companies or run the company or own the companies that I see in stores, that I buy, that I like. It's just like, wow, Asians, we are out here and we're doing things, and it's really, and they were just like really, really cool people too.
Yeah.
So that was, because I felt that from just attending one of her events, I really wanted to recreate that too, but in a way that is representative of the healing journey that Christina and I share.
I'm glad we got that open and did that.
Whoa, that one was pepper. I like that one.
Yeah, that might have actually been
scallion pancakes. You know how there's all these
love
names?
Your descriptions.
I just feel like, whoever named them, like, they keep recycling the same words, and I'm like, is a banana that differentiated from a papaya? I don't know. Like, maybe we can expand the definition a little bit,
Yeah.
Like, when I taste and smell these, like, they remind me of, like, things that I grew up with, like scallion pancakes. And I'm like, okay, that one was, like, peppery and kind of funky, and it's, like, that reminds me of, like, when you eat scallion pancakes and the chewiness, but it's, like, really fried and crispy on the outside. And you just get that bitterness of the char. And, and that breadiness. It's so good.
For sure. Wow, that dab... I don't know if it was the fact that we just took, like, 3 pretty large, strong dabs back to back, or if it was that one in particular. I feel like it's a little bit of both. That one really ripped.
Yeah, I feel more awake and energized now.
I feel pretty good.
You're like, whoa, I don't know about energized, like, okay? I don't know about energized.
I didn't want to disagree with you outright, but I'm like, I feel almost the opposite of energized.
You have to come by, and then we'll be able to actually cook together. And
yes, I would love that.
And then I'll show you the space. We're building, the... farm to table with all the candy in my mouth.
No, you're good.
Oh my gosh,
I literally just zoned out for a second. I was in, like, flavor heaven.
Right? It's so good. Okay, see, this is why I love food and weed together, because one, like, food and, like, meals for me growing up were always the moments where we get really present and we connect with each other.
Yeah.
And it's because the food is so good that you're just immersed in the experience. And you're just experiencing, you're just being more aware of your senses, and the feelings and all of that. And I think we just really enhances that as well. Yeah. And so, it's... And I get really sad about, like, meal replacement type of stuff, and I don't want to judge anybody, you do you, but I just think that it's such a fulfilling relationship to be connected, right, in those moments. And why not, it just kind of, those moments for me every day is like a moment to check in, a moment to really honor being joyful and enjoying something, because it's like, even if I have a shitty day, I'll always make sure that I'm taking the time to enjoy a meal, because it's, where I get really happy about just, excited to eat. Yeah. But also just present and experiencing things, because sometimes we're so go. It's like we're forgetting to check in on how it actually makes us feel. Yeah. I'm like, because when you pay attention to those nuances of what you're experiencing and what you're tasting, you kind of get lost in that.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in Ratatouille where he's just like imagining all the little flavors.
No, I feel you. I
Have you not
understand.
seen Ratatouille?
I have. I'm not. I don't know if I have seen the whole movie, so I wasn't sure about that scene. But I was trying to imagine what you were imagining. Oh my gosh, this has been such a good time. Okay, before we wrap things up, do you have any upcoming things for the new year? It's the new year. Happy New Year, 2023. Do you have any cool things coming up that you want to share?
Yes, like I was saying before, I got sidetracked with another tangent thought. The space is coming along great, and I want you to come check it out and, kind of imagine with me what we can build there. And it's really, really exciting, we're building like the farm to table with cannabis concept, and also just a space for other community organizers to use. And I think it's been really like healing for everyone to like be more intentional in how we gather and all that. So just want to create a space to help facilitate that for me and other people,
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing so much of, yourself and all your wonderful gifts and talents. I can't wait to use all of these different sauces.
Yeah, show me what you use it on.
Yes. Oh my God, for sure. Oh, I'm so excited.
It's really good on fried egg too.
Okay. We're gonna have to go through like a recipe list. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Send Us Flowers. I'm also so ripped right now. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Happy New Year. And I can't wait to see what's next and see the space. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Let me be your guest. I'd love to try dabs and food. You're just like, nah, give me the dabs.
I literally said I didn't want to be running to the snacks like that before we started recording.
Okay, I love this.
Right?
I do like that this is complementary to the texture and flavor of the Kit Kat.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still kind of like a wafer situation.
Yeah, but it's got a little bit more of a chew because I think maybe they use like tapioca or something in it too. So it gives it more of a chew even though you are first hit with the crunch.
Yeah, I like the journey of that. Hold on.
Here, try one of these.
Okay, so are these spicy?
I don't think so.
Okay. I do like spice. I wasn't asking, I wanted to clarify.
You and every other white person who's ever tried to defend their spice tolerance. I feel like that's all. I'm laughing because I've heard that like comment after asking her.
Laugh. That's so fucking funny.
Is it spicy? Is always followed by I do like some spice or I do like spice or some variation of that.
Oh my god. Well,
oh my gosh.
I'm glad that I could complete the stereotype. That's really good. That's not spicy at all.
Right? See, now I'm like, are you saying that or are you saying that?
You'll never know. I will never let you know. Never. No, I could eat the spiciest thing in the world. I would tell you it was fine.
Which also my friends do.
That's so funny. We should have
But
a
you can tell they're
challenge.
like not fine.
We should have a challenge to see which white person.
They've actually
Can lie the
debated this
best.
before. They've actually debated this before. They've actually been like, well, my spice tolerance is higher than so-and-so's. I'm like, I don't know. We've never had a spice off, so how will we know?
Oh my god. Okay, let's try this out. The matcha strawberry combo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a vibe.
This is so good.
This is like a top tier snack.